publishers of How to Make America Utopia, Take Away the Economy from Those Who Rigged It, As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom, It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, and other books written by Egberto Willis. Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willis. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willis. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Welcome to Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willis, your host. Good morning, Houston. Good morning, Harris County. Good morning to the great state of Texas. And good morning to the northeast Texas, southeast Texas, northeast Louisiana, northwest Louisiana, southwest Louisiana, and all the nooks and crannies where our 100,000 watt transmitter permeates into the homes and the cars, etc., of all of those who are still using radios. But importantly as well, good morning to the entire world. We are going to have a great show for you today. Why? Because, folks, we are in very important times. We are in serious times, and we're going to talk about that. We have a lot to talk about. Anyhow, before I get busy, it is incumbent on me to go to the people who really makes it happen. My brothers in the studio, the geniuses in the studio, who does all the magic. Buenos dias, mis hermanos.
The guys who keep the tin cans and string glued together.
Yes, sir.
You have a lot to talk about today, and I have absolutely nothing to talk about.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Howard, shame on you.
I just haven't been aggravated, so, you know. When you get aggravated, you got a lot to talk about. So it's all good.
You must not have watched the convention last night. Okay.
No, why would I?
Well,
it's just the same nonsense.
It's
just
man.
The same stuff that. Okay, we're going to take away this right. We're going to take away that right. We're going to regulate this. We're not going to regulate that. It's the same nonsense. Over and over and over. So that's why I wasn't aggravated. I didn't watch it.
So what does Jack have for us?
Not aggravated. I got some stuff here. Good morning, Egberto. How are you?
Good morning, Jack.
All right. Okay. Democrats, please get yourselves ready to vote this November. It is important for voters to register to vote before October. So get your paperwork together and go register now. Talk to your friends, especially your friends that have voter apathy. Encourage them to register and vote. Talk about the issues. This year, the main issue is democracy versus authoritarian rule. A democracy versus a dictatorship. What happens to our government? What has happened to our government is it has been corrupted with bribery after the Supreme Court passed Citizens United, which gave the corporation the right to use money as free speech, and the corporations are using this power to corrupt government and make government an instrument of corporate will to oppress the people and allow the corporate to rule over its citizens.
To the caller who keeps again, we're going to get to you in just a few minutes here.
Yeah,
we've got a persistent caller who's calling in, and we just can't get to you right now, but we will get to you. Okay.
So vote. Hey. People, get yourselves registered to vote.
Vote.
It's important. It's important that you Democrats get off get off of it and get registered, because this is a fight for our life.
Yeah, it will be. All right,
Yeah.
Egberto, we're going to turn your show back to you.
Well, thank you, my brothers. Let me tell you guys, yes, we have to go out there and vote. And Jack is absolutely right. And I'm going to start with where Jack left off, where he's urging everybody to vote. I've started to feel that many on the right, the correct side of the political spectrum, and I'm not, when I say they are on the correct side, that's not a subjective statement. That is an objective statement. That is a real statement. There are things in life that are gray areas, right? Whether you want big government and small government, that's not an absolute thing. That's a gray area. Whether you want certain social programs or not, that's a gray area. Because again, if I say that I want small government, that is okay. If we want to be a society of small government, that is okay. But we have to understand as a society what we mean by that. If we say we want big government or sufficiently large government to take care of X, Y, and Z, that is okay. If that's what we vote for and support that, it's okay. But we have to understand what comes with it. If you want a small government that has very little to do with your life, then understand the things that you're calling for. You want to ensure that a lot isn't spent on the indigent, a lot isn't spent on research and development as a collective, that most things are privately controlled. And when most things are privately controlled, you have to realize that also you don't have the authority to do certain. I mean, you understand what small government means, and if that's what we want, that's what we want. But America has never said that. We have a few individualists that try to convince everybody else that small government is good for everybody when they themselves can't live with small government. So when I talk about us having being on the correct side, it's not just saying, well, you think you're right. It is to say those of us who are supporting the current policies of the Democratic Party. And notice I say the current policies of the Democratic Party, because things have all turned around and things haven't always been this way. There are times when other parties had the policies that best fit what we all want. But in the last several decades, it has been the Democratic Party and all those, including those who are fighting for small government, they have simply been deluding themselves in taking advantage of what those of us who want right sized government to work. They've been taking advantage of Social Security. They've taken advantage of the great roads. They've been taking advantage of the research done for the space program that had turned into hundreds of thousands of products. They've taken advantage of all these things. And then they say, small government, small government, small government, not realizing that everything that they had was really created by the right sized government, not that individualism that many like to talk about. But I'll go further into the subject, but we got two calls. So I'm going to go to John first. Come on in, John.
Humberto.
Buenos dias. How are you doing, my dear brother?
I'm doing okay. It's first time caller, but I do donate because of your show $5 a month to
I
KPFT. That's all I can afford. I'll do it.
Well, let me
Okay.
stop you right there and tell you. I want to tell you first of all, thank you for saying that, John. Thank you for doing that, John. And anybody listening right now, that coffee a month that John is giving us, I'm going to let you to say your stuff real quick, but let me ask you, that doesn't hurt you too badly to give us $5 a month, right?
No, it does me psychologically very good. A good thing.
Great.
It makes me feel I'm part of it.
You are a part
So
of it.
that's
Thank you.
why I do it now. And I've been involved in politics since 1968 when I was 19 years old, and I have to call in, and I don't always want to call in, but right now it's crucial that everybody get involved. And what y'all were saying this morning is so true about big government. Yet we want to regulate women's bodies and their medical health. Yet we said for years, well, we're about small government. That's not small government. And so we see autocracy taking over. Even MSNBC has been affected by it, with trying to put in Rhonda McDaniel and then doing what they did to Morning Joe the other day. And that's the beginning of this. A state radio, state press, a state television network. And if you don't see it, you're blind. You're not involved. You need to be involved and realize what's going on. And so this is my question to you. Does Joe Biden and the Biden administration allow what is technically the modern day Hitler to take over the country through the election? Or do they do something now that the Supreme Court has decided to make the president immune from prosecution and make him above the law? Does Joe, if he loses the election in November, does he just sit there and let it happen? Do the Democrats do that?
You know what? The interesting thing about it is you will never, ever see a Democrat do that. And now you'd see Trump do that. And I'll even go as far as say most true Republicans wouldn't do that. Autocrats, which is Donald Trump and many of the leaders that follow him, would do that. The thing about it, John, is you and I and Jack and Howard, we have a lot of work to do. I'll tell you a little something that I did last night. I've been watching a lot of despair on the different platforms, whether it be Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, just talking to people. I've seen people getting scared, and I've been telling them I have no fear because I believe in you. And I'm not saying that to be placé or to sound nice or that. I think the biggest problem is that people don't realize the power that they have. And all the examples that we've seen from the time Biden has gotten elected, all the elections have defied polls, and people have, not by a little, but by a bunch, as people, when they went into that booth, realized what they were voting for. And what we have to do is not. Go ahead, John. Go ahead, John.
I see what you're talking about. I'm a poll worker. I work the polls over there on navigation at the old Whitney House. So I can tell you, it's a lie about the elections being rigged when you work the polls. Go work the polls. Go volunteer to work, and you'll see it's impossible. You can't. Everything is checked and doubled. And so I've been there. I do that as a volunteer. As a 74-year-old disabled man, I still go and do that because I think it's important. But you're right about scared, because it seems to me the FBC people have started it by simply trying to already appease Trump, and he's not even elected yet.
Right.
Around the McDaniel thing, they do the start censorship, and you realize they were trying also the other day to censor Nicole Wallace and Ari Melbourne at the same time. They just didn't do it.
Right.
And so I see that, and I see that it's so easy. It's so easy for the Republicans to go get to bed with Donald Trump because it's so easy. All you have to do is create anarchy and chaos, and that's a simple thing. It doesn't matter what you say or do. It doesn't have to be true.
Let me interrupt you a second here, John, because you said something that I want to address, right? Remember, all these television stations are also corporations. So if they actually believe, if they believe that Donald Trump is going to win, they are going to start hedging their bets because they don't want this guy coming after them as soon as he gets elected. So you're going to see MSNBC, CNN, and all these guys hedging their bets. They're going to start saying, well, suppose he's going, let's make it seem like, you're going to see a little bit less of Ali Velshi. You're going to see a little bit less of these other people that are critical, but that they can't muzzle, right? But I tell you what, the answer to all of that, first of all, is to support the independent media that isn't dependent on the corporate structures that fund them. And in doing so, we get the unadulterated truth out there. But the other thing is to not have fear. The other thing is to go out there and I did a TikTok last night after seeing all of that, right, John? I went ahead and I did a very long TikTok. Well, not very long, probably about 6, 7 minutes or so, where I gave a little talk. And it really had a lot of people really saying, oh, yeah, right. And just to let people know that they are already empowered. Don't fall for the okey doke. The Republicans know they don't have, meaning the MAGA guys know they don't have it won. They know it. But what they're playing is the poker
Yeah,
face. They are making a bet that if you think you're going to lose, you won't bother the effort of voting. It's the okey doke being played. Don't fall for it. John, give me a closer so I can get to Harry.
well, I'll say this. It is important. You said exactly what needs to be said at the beginning. Vote. Go vote. Encourage everybody that you know that they can vote to go vote. And don't just go vote. Vote for democracy. That's what you're voting for. You really are.
Brother,
It's
you nailed
the
it.
truth.
You nailed it. Thank you
Thank
so kindly. John, thank you so kindly for the call. Thank you for kindly for being a supporter of KPFT with a coffee a month. Let me tell you something, brother. You are one of the folks who are doing the necessary work to make us win in November. Thank you so kindly, brother. You have a wonderful rest of your day.
always. Thanks.
All right, let's go to brother Harry. Come on in, Harry. How you doing? And folks, the telephone number is 713-526-5738. 713-526-5738. Come on in, brother Harry.
Buenos dias, se paso, Senor Alberto Willis, and good
Buenos
morning, Howard.
dias, Harry. Harry,
Yes,
good morning. But before you speak, I I made a boo boo. I need to welcome all our people in the chat, which is filling up. So I want to welcome Melanie Keelan from Barcelona, Spain. I want to welcome Lizard Queen. I think is from Houston. I want to welcome Eric Hayes from Kingwood, Atascocita, and I want to welcome A7RL1. And I don't know where you're from. Okay, continue, my brother. And yes, you can
okay,
ask anything in Spanish or English. Yeah, go ahead.
before I get into that, I did hear Howard say he had nothing to talk about. Well, Howard, I'm glad that you played New York City Trippin' from Soul Ballet. You're a Soul Ballet fan. I'm a Soul Ballet fan. Yeah, I haven't heard that in a while. There's another one called Blue Girls. You can find that in the
Hey,
what's that thing called? Very
Harry,
similar.
when you Harry, I need to
Okay,
ask a
but I'll
favor
find the one
because
I'm gonna.
Harry, give Harry, give Howard his kudos, but then please, my brother, love you, but we need to get to the point so that others can speak as well.
Right, I'm going to get to the point now. I'm going to go ahead and get to the point now. Well, my parents taught me this, and I heard what you said, Roberto, about the Republican convention. I've been listening all week. I listened last night to Sarah Huckabee Sanders, and I listened to Marco Rubio. And what my parents taught me is the people that you strongly disagree with, whether you're a Republican or you're a Democrat, you listen to that side as well as you listen to the side that you agree with. And I totally disagreed with Marco Rubio and Sarah Huckabee Sanders. Marco Rubio, as you say on this show, I thought about one person when he spoke last night, Alberto Willis, when he went into talking about how we had low gas prices and we had, what else did he say? He said, that you talk about on this show. Because it deals with the corporate greed, and he was talking about the inflation and how Joe Biden caused the inflation, and that is not true. It was COVID and that caused these. That's why we had the low gas prices and the low food prices. And as Dr. Richard Wolf had talked about at that time, when economic activity picks up, the interest rates are going to go up. And I remember Dr. Wolf had warned at that time that if Trump gets another 4 years, there's going to be a crash and we're going to have a slowdown in the economy. But thank God Trump did not get another 4 years. So that's why the people you strongly disagree with, it's important to listen to that stuff, and then you can make an intelligent decision. And then when you listen to intelligent people like you, Roberto Willis, like Howard Reynolds, like Jack Van Dever, like he was talking about, Citizens United and the dark money entering politics. You think things through, as you always tell people to do. Think things through. Try to get intelligent sources. Those are the kinds of things you have to do. And Sarah Huckabee Sanders was talking about how Trump is a strong man. He took a bullet, and that how he's strong for America. And Nikki Haley was saying some of the same things that but she's saying, okay, I don't agree with Donald Trump, but we're better off with Donald. We were better off with Donald Trump in the White House than we are with Joe Biden. Joe Biden has made some mistakes, that's true, but he did do the Inflation Reduction Act. He tried to get Build Back Better. He tried to invest in America. I don't recall Donald Trump and the Republicans doing any of that in Donald Trump's 4 years.
Thank you so kindly, Harry. I wanted to cut you right there, but you're so right. And let me tell you, having you have what's called your sphere of influence, Harry. What that means is
Yes.
you are around a bunch of people when you go to your church, which I'm going to visit. I promise you at some time. Right now, it's just a busy time.
Okay?
You have
And my
you
brother
have
Al is
your
right here.
you have your
And my
sphere
brother
of
Al.
and Al. Hello, Al. How are you doing? But let me just tell
Hey,
you
Al,
this, Harry.
say hello.
Okay, great, Harry. I
He
want
said
to
hi.
speak
He
this.
said hi.
Thank you,
All
Harry.
right,
I
go
want
ahead.
to speak this directly to you and
Go ahead.
everybody that's listening to my voice. Make believe you are Harry right now. Every single person have something called their sphere of influence. In other words, think about you, Harry. You interact with probably 30, 40, 50 people in your church who know you
Yes.
and who trust you. The narrative that you give here on the radio, always make sure to give that narrative as well to those 50 people you know and encourage
Yes.
those 50 people who you know to tell their sphere of influence. Their sphere of influence interact with your sphere, but it also exceeds your sphere because they have their own people that they also interact with, of which you are one of them. There is this
Yes.
exponential growth can happen without the television, can happen without all the corporate distributors of information. And that's what we need now because we know we cannot depend on the mainstream media, etc., but we can depend on Harry. We can depend on
Yes.
Mary. We can depend on every single person if they use their sphere of influence and tell those people to use their own spheres of influence to talk to people. That is how we win. And I want folks to understand that. Instead of having fear of losing, understand that you have a stake in winning. And that winning, that you form a part of the machine that wins. And this isn't wishful thinking or hope. This is saying instead of being fearful, you can do something to mitigate that fear and get the result that you want. Harry,
Right.
thank you so kindly for calling, brother.
I say one.
All right, let's go to Bard. Come on in, Bard. And then I need to get to the convention, but come on in, Bard.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, my brother. Talk to me.
July 13 is a day which will live in infamy. I want to ask all of your listeners to please pray for Donald Trump, and let's pray that he gets the healing he needs and that his hearing isn't damaged or anything else. I know he's a changed man now that the hand of God has touched him and saved his life. So I want to particularly ask Harry if he could put him on his prayer list at his church. And it's coming out now that there was at least 2 shooters. The Secret Service was incompetent, is incompetent. Was that by design? It's possible. It's possible. We don't know. FBI investigating Hunter's laptop, and now they're going to investigate this. I saw where they're already like washing down the crime scene, getting rid of the evidence, possibly. But there was an open rooftop, and supposedly this guy bought a 5-foot ladder. And how do you get on a 10-foot roof with a 5-foot ladder? It's impossible. So the story's not adding up. Just incomplete
Bard,
coverage. So
Bard. You
something's
know
going
the
on here.
answer, Bard. I don't. Look, what I try to do on my program is I try to be as factual as I can based on the evidence that I have. Now, I think you covered yourself by saying maybe that you're not sure of these things, but you're throwing a whole lot of these conspiracies into the ethos. Okay, that's fine because you covered yourself by saying maybe, possibly, etc. But let me just say one thing. When first of all,
We don't know. You can
let me.
reporting.
I made it. Didn't I let you talk about 2 minutes continuously, sir, without
Okay,
interrupting
go.
you? Thank you. Um, I don't uh, wish Brother Trump any ill will whatsoever. What I want to ensure is that he never becomes president again, because I know the harm that he's caused not only to a lot of my friends and family, but even to you, Bard. That you don't get it, that's fine. I still care about you too. And I mean that I'm not saying that as a cliche. I mean that from the depth of my heart. But let me tell you something. For those who are talking about God saving Trump and all of that stuff, one should ask what happened before the bullet. Maybe if God had any involvement in it, he would have made sure the guy who was climbing up on the roof to kill Trump would have fallen and broken his head and not let an innocent person be killed. Because while Trump was saved, we have to remember that a fireman was murdered when that bullet missed Trump and hit the fireman. And not many people are speaking about the dead innocent man that got killed. So let's talk about that. But anyway, Bard, my lines are filling up, and I think I gave you 2 minutes. I want to try to be
Can
as
I
fair as
say
I
one more
can.
thing?
Real quick, sir.
I say one more thing. That's
Yes,
right.
sir.
There was bullets everywhere. Bullets hitting tractors and other people, and there's no way. There's just no
All
way
right.
that it
We'll
wasn't
talk.
him. But
Remember,
there,
remember, it was an AR-15 at AR-15. But thank you, brother. We'll talk another time. Let's go to Jimmy. Come on in, Jimmy.
So I wanted to talk
Yes,
about Trump's vice presidential choice, J.D. Vance.
yes.
He wrote that book, Hillbilly Elegy. Well, yes, we found out that is also a movie on Netflix, and we watched it yesterday, and it's a very interesting movie. He had a real tough life. His mother was a drug addict and so forth. So I think Trump made a good choice, but and I even see him as a future president, but his opinions about many things are way off. I mean, I heard he said that he cares nothing about Ukraine. I mean, that's not a good thing. I love the way Biden is supporting Ukraine with a lot of money and bullets and so forth. We need to help them defend them from Putin's dictatorship.
You know,
So I'm glad
yeah,
that Biden is doing that. And he's also, Elizabeth Warren was on last night on Stephen Colbert, and she talked about how Biden has reduced or eliminated student debt for like 5 million people, I believe. So now they now have money to make a down payment on a home, et cetera, stuff like that. Biden's doing a lot of good stuff.
actually, look, Biden turned out to be. I was a Bernie supporter, but after Bernie lost, I went whole hog for brother, our current President Biden. Now, the truth of the matter is, Biden turned out to be a much better president than I thought he could ever be, because he really turned out to care about the policies that he passed. Helped a lot of people reduce poverty. It did a whole bunch, Jimmy. So you're absolutely right. Now, let me tell you about JD Vance. JD Vance is the kind of guy who knows better. JD Vance was the kind of guy who spoke the truth about Donald Trump until he sold his soul. After he knows better. He actually knows better because he comes from the working class. He had a tough life and he superseded it because he does have character. He does have. JD Vance is somebody that built himself up with the help of society. He knows better, but he went ahead and sold out to Trump. And once you sold out, it speaks much about your character, your morality, etc. And on that, he has failed. In as much as he did well for himself, on that he has failed. Jimmy, anything else before I jump to Joe?
Well, he also served in the Marines, and he got himself a law degree at Yale, I
Yes.
believe. So he's done a lot of good things. But I would like other people to discuss him and some of his crazy opinions.
Well, look, I mean, think
Okay.
about this, Jimmy. Before you go, Jimmy, think about this. This guy actually worked with Elizabeth Warren on policy. Okay, he actually worked with her to really do policy that was good for people. But then he turned.
That's right. She
Uh,
mentioned that too on the Stephen Colbert show.
yes, and I am an honest person. I'm not going to just dog Brother Vance. Vance was a good guy at one time, but again, whenever you sell your soul, you know what happens. Thank you so kindly, Jimmy. Let me get to Joe. Brother Joe, I think didn't Joe hang up on me yesterday? Hi, Joe. Come on in, brother.
Hey, good morning. Please don't hang up on me today.
No, you hung up on me.
No, Jack actually hung up on me, man.
Okay,
Hey,
well.
Jack
If something like that
hung
happened,
up
it was
on me.
simply a mistake. It was simply a mistake. Anyway, go ahead, brother.
So yesterday you said that the left was the party of peace, and you had the balls to say that the Republicans and Donald Trump are reaping what they sow. That assassination attempt is what they're
No,
reaping what they
no,
sow. That's what you
no, no,
said.
no,
Those are your
no,
words.
sir. I say
That is
I
what
use
you
that
said
word, but
yesterday.
my brother, and the reason I interrupt you here, and I'm gonna let you speak, I promise you that. But when you're doing something that is very dangerous that we try not to do here, I have the tape. You took it out. You're taking that out of context. I wasn't talking about Trump. I was talking specifically about all of those people who continuously want to flood the market with things like AR-15s and also giving liberal drug gun laws for people to have things. Okay, it's important that we get context. Let's not do that. Go ahead, continue.
So, as for the left being the party of peace, I can really tell that you're right because of all the looting and rioting and burning that's going on now that the MAGA Republicans are doing. Right? That's
No, I
sarcasm.
don't know. I figured it was sarcasm.
It
Go
happened
ahead,
to your
continue, my brother.
party, the left side. If it had happened to the left side, like last time, the cities would be on fire and there would be looting and rioting in the streets. Right?
Okay,
And
let's correct that one step at a time. Okay, there were when we had the riots in Wisconsin, in Portland, and in certain areas, they were all distinct and restricted to particular blocks. And what Fox News did is they went to those blocks and extrapolated that to mean the entire place was burning. You call anybody in these big cities and say, "Hey, I heard your city is burning." They want to know what you're talking about. Again, that is the misinformation that I'm talking about. Fox News take a riot that's occurring on two blocks and explode it. Now, you all take a riot that applies on the sixth that people die in and minimize it. We have to start being honest in news. But continue, my brother.
Did you say January 6th? Because the only people who died January 6th was an unarmed woman, two unarmed women that were killed by the police. But I digress. Anyway, you're doubling down on the hate because the first thing I heard from Howard was that this fall is a choice between freedom and a dictatorship, and then your first caller compares Trump to Hitler, right? You guys bring nothing to the game.
Okay,
12-man echo.
let's be clear again. I'm letting you talk. I'm letting you talk, but I just want every time you make a point that needs to be corrected, I want to let you do. Remember, it was J.D. Vance, the current vice presidential candidate that Trump chose, who said Trump was America's Hitler. Continue, please.
Well, your first caller said it as well, and I didn't hear Vance say that,
Oh,
right?
you can find it on tape. I heard it on. You can hear it, but he said it. Continue.
Well, he's I don't know. Anyway, I don't have much else to add, other than I'm still looking for some of these
Well,
policies that you like about Joe Biden. You didn't give me
well,
anything specific.
I will tell you policies now because I want you to leave here with something when you say about policies. When the Inflation Reduction Act was passed, several things it did. It started to bring back chip manufacturing to America. So therefore, there are a lot of factories being built in Arizona and other red states that need help. They are being built there to start fixing what people called a supply chain issue with the chips coming over from, let's say, Taiwan and these other places. So he did that. Number two, under his domain, the laws that he passed, the bills that he passed, reduce child poverty in half. How do we know that? As soon as it was overwritten by the Republican Congress and couldn't pass through, child poverty started to smooth up again. All the bridges that's being built in many of our red states right now was under the bill that Trump had tried to get for every year. Every week was infrastructure week. Well, guess what? Brother Biden passed the infrastructure bill, and all the Republicans who voted no against it, every bridge that is going up, every street that is being built, they come back and they say, look at what we did when they voted against the bill. So I can show you materially, physically, the policies that Joe Biden passed that actually helped all of us, irrespective of whether we're in a red state or blue state. These are things you can find out on your own. You don't have to listen to the Republican convention that says Biden did nothing. You can actually see what he did. My problem with Biden is that they are very poor marketers. They don't know how to point out what they did. But Joe, my phones are completely filled,
Listen,
so I got to
Edwin,
go ahead.
just to close out. So I'll look into the Inflation Reduction Act, but following up on what you were saying, I looked into the Green New Deal and the American Recovery Act, right? And there are pluses and minuses to all of these things, but the minuses are things like and it's proven that in the American Recovery Act was a program to prop up businesses that were pre-invested in by people like BlackRock Capital.
I tell you what, Joe, I can't go there. My lines are filled up. I really gave you a chance to talk. I gotta go, Joe. Joe, tomorrow Joe, call us tomorrow with that. I gotta go to Joni. Come on in, Joni.
So, I'm trying to take a deep breath. So I got up early because I wanted to hear what was going on, and very confusing time for everybody. I want to address the notion that the left is full of hate, and that's being leveled at the left from the right. When a few things, I mean, there's so much to talk about. It's like hard to pinpoint just one, but I'll pinpoint the one I heard the day after all this took place. And mind you, I've told you I don't have a lot of electronics. I was blissfully ignorant. Just got my electricity back on, and then my friend texted me from California what was going on in the shooting, and it rocks your world. And then I hear the next day on NPR, I'll name the station, there were two people talking. One was a securities expert. One was monitors social media. The one that was monitoring social media, a man with an Irish accent, he was talking about, he was just so surprised at the left and their conspiracy theories, and that anything could possibly be contrived around Trump. Well, I hail back to Netanyahu, who would sacrifice his own people. But anyway, conspiracy theories, I won't go there necessarily, except to say it's not beyond the realm of possibility, number one. Number two, the next thing they asked, the host asked this man was, what is the right saying? Oh, well, that all Democrats should die. Anyway, I mean, literally that in passing. And then it went back to the left and how outrageous it is that the left has conspiracy theories about what's going on. So, to say that it's the left all full of hate, but I don't know any of my leftist friends who are saying that all Republicans should die. But you do hear that from the right. I see signs all over the place that say F your feelings, or make the Democrats or make the liberals cry in regards to the 2024 election. And if that's your platform, you don't have anything else going on except hurt the other
Joni,
side. That right tells you.
Joni, let me interrupt you and tell you one thing. When I look and I said the left is for peace, progressives are for peace, progressives are for human rights and all these things, I'm not saying that because of just to say something nice. Those are statements of fact that qualifies based on the budgets and policies we pass. Okay, and that's all I got to
Yes.
say. In other words, there's a I don't remember which president used to say, "Show me your budget, and and you show and I know your values." That's all. Show me your
Right.
budget and your policies, and you tell me a lot about your values. And to that, I tell all the Republican politicians, show me your budget, and I can show you your values. And that's all I have
Yeah,
to say.
Bob Dylan had a song. Yeah, Bob Dylan had a song that said, "You can be a part of my dream. Can I be a part of yours?" That's a lyric. So it's
There
like
you go.
they would like to figure out a way to annihilate. And some of them, not everybody. I mean, I've got them in my family. Hopefully, they're not saying the same things, because then they're talking about me being from the left. If
Right.
that's what they want is, and you know what would happen, Egberto, is if all of us let's just say magically all the left disappeared, they wouldn't know who they were, because
No,
they react.
but here's a
What
sad
does the left
Joni
want?
here.
The left, whatever the left wants, I don't want.
Joni, here is a sad part. If the left went away with the policies we instituted, they could not exist, because they while they curse our policies, they live and depend on them. Remember that.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so
Yep.
Joni, my lines are completely filled up, so I really got to go. But I thank you so kindly for calling,
Bye-bye.
sister. All right, let's jump to Augie, and Augie, I'm gonna have to start limiting it to 2 minutes. It's my mismanagement. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Augie.
Yep, I understand about your time limit, but I wonder if Joe and these other right wingers, if they actually watched the Republican National Convention, because I know a bunch of right wingers that I know don't even watch that. But these politicians coming on to the convention, I wonder how many of them are churchgoers. Like the first African American Scott from South Carolina, he said, "We're not a racist country." Well, it might not be a racist country, but we sure got a lot of racist people, the Nazis, the KKK, and Trump loves them. So I wonder why these people are churchgoers, but they're saying all these other things and
You know,
comparing Trump to Nazis. He's doing a lot of Nazi things that Hitler did. Hitler spoke against all these people that wrote against articles or in the media about him. He killed them after he got elected.
right.
And Trump is
Hey,
saying
Augie.
the same thing. So,
Augie,
yeah.
you're absolutely right. I need to move on to Betty, but let me just say you're absolutely right. If you're doing the things that somebody else does, the comparison is apropos. But one other thing is, I am a lot of Republicans aren't watching the Republican convention based on the polls. I mean, based on the ratings. But guess who's watching it? I am watching it, and the reason I'm watching it is so that I can remind those who are watching it that most of what they're talking about are verifiable, quantifiable lies. Thank you, Augie. Got to jump to Betty. You're a great guy. And thank you for being a supporter of Politics Done Right and KPFT. Come on in, Betty.
Good morning.
Good morning, Betty. How are you doing this morning?
Oh, sitting out here on the patio with my cats.
Great.
Um,
What would you like to
I
say,
want
Betty?
Yeah, what I want to. It's about the independence voters. They're they're doing it for their pleasure. It gives them pleasure, and they're being selfish. It's just like me. If I found a hurt animal, put it in a cage, and not let it go, that would give me pleasure, and that would mean I am selfish. They're not helping their brothers. They're not helping their sisters. They're not, helping what's going to happen, And also to the ones that want to sit it out, I want them to stand up and vote their keister off.
Look, let me tell
Okay?
you, Betty. Betty, I'm with you, and let me just tell you this. I have faith in you. I don't know if you heard when I spoke about sphere of influence. You have people in your sphere of influence, people that are surrounding you that you can talk to every day. You do your part. Make sure that everybody you know go out there and vote, and we will be okay. No fear. We will be okay. Most Americans are good people, whether they're on the left or the right. Most Americans are good people. All you have to do is remind them of that. And it's easy for people to do bad things because they're directed to do so. But you can remind everybody that they're good people. I got to go, Betty, because the lines are completely full. I want to go to Brother Johnny, the mayor of Politics Done Right. Come on in, Brother Johnny.
quickly a simple message to Breitbart. Breitbart, I hope you're listening. Donald Trump doesn't need your prayers, doesn't need my prayers or Harry Carey's prayers. He's going to be just fine. He's got a big shiny plane. He's got lots of corporate money backing him. He's got lots of people willing to die for him, literally beat up people on the streets and commit retail violence. He's going to be just fine. If you want to direct prayers, if you think the prayer is powerful, why don't you start praying for the people in Gaza? Why don't you pray for people in Los Angeles who work jobs and government jobs as well, who can't afford rent or mortgage or living in cars with their children? Pray for those folks. Your prayers will be misdirected if you put that energy towards Donald Trump. He is a very present danger, Breitbart.
You're absolutely. Thank you, Johnny. I need to go on to Brother Ray from Third Ward, and thank you all, guys. I'm kind of speeding up a little bit because the lines are full. Ray from Third Ward, come on in, my brother.
Yeah, Egberto, good morning. I just want to speak on what you said earlier about small government. And, you know, every time I hear that saying of small government, what I hear is small, ineffective, inefficient, underfunded, underserved government. I hear a government that focuses on crime and punishment and corporate rule is the final word. That's what I hear when I hear small government. And finally,
Ray,
a term that I heard is laissez-faire, which means they get to do what they want and everybody suffers.
you know, Ray, you nailed it, and I need to let you go at that point because, again, the lines are killing me. But you're absolutely right, and that needs to be framed. That when you hear small government, it's exactly what you said. Thank you, brother. I'll see you at 3. Let's go to Brother Donald.
Barto, okay, this is
Yeah.
the key. When you move up in corporations or you move up in politics, sometimes you have to lease your soul to the devil, and the devil's mad as hell when you call it back. You don't sell your soul. It ain't written in blood. You lease your soul, because sometimes you have to do things that don't appear right to everybody else, but you need it to move that chess piece in the next position. And that's all I got to say.
Thank you, my brother. You're a good man. Let's go to Brother Patrick. Come on in, Patrick. Patrick, you're on. Patrick 1, Patrick 2. Okay, are you on mute, Patrick, or should I just jump to Brian? Okay, I don't hear Patrick. Let's get to Brian. And come on in, Brian.
Yes, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, sir. Talk to me.
Yeah. How old is Mick Jagger?
Old, very old.
81. Yeah, he's 81.
He may be close to. He's close to 80. No, he does not.
Does he act or? No, he doesn't. How about
No, he
Warren
doesn't.
Buffett? Much older.
Right.
So that's
And so it's so it's Fauci, and so is Fauci, and so is Bernie Sanders. All of them are older than Biden, and no, they do not act as old as Biden. You're correct. What's your point?
No, the man's too old to have a job. He's
Okay.
retired. His wife should be charged with spousal abuse. He's
You
that
know.
old.
Okay. Let me say this. All right.
He wants nationwide rent control. Now
What's
he
that
wants
about rent control?
nationwide rent control.
All right.
Yeah, rent
Let's
control. He wants it nationwide.
Okay, I'm glad you said that. Let me just talk about nationwide rent control. It's two things that one can do. One can sort of institute some sort of regulation to allow people to afford homes, or and you know, Brian, why are you so against the middle class? And why are you so
I'm
against the middle class?
I am middle.
Okay, so
I'm
let me
not
ask you
middle
this.
class.
Okay,
I am middle class.
all right. Well,
But I
hold
also
one
don't-
second, Brian. Stop and listen.
You know
You
what they
have
do
to,
in- You know what they do in China?
Brian. Brian,
they do in
stop.
China?
Let me,
Yeah, go ahead.
Brian, stop. Come on, let's have a conversation and stop that, okay? When I speak, you don't speak. When you speak, I don't speak. But as the host, I can interrupt you. Now, here's what I want to say, brother. Right now, the corporatocracy are causing rents to go real high. It's not Biden causing rents to go high. You have to be analytic. The reason rents are going high is because corporate buyers are buying up everything and creating false shortages. You get a shortage of something, you can charge more for something. The market is being cornered by the business class. That's what's happening, why people's rent are going up 20% per year. You have to, that's why regulations are important. You can't have a corporation go into a neighborhood and buy up 100 houses, hold them, rent them, and cause prices to go up. That is a manipulation of a market. What the Biden administration wants to do is to stop the manipulation of a market so that people can afford homes. I just explained to you why rents are skyrocketing. It's a false manipulation of the market. Biden is trying to do something about it, and you are getting negative about him creating socialism for doing something that capitalism has done to hurt people. You see why I say you're against the middle class? Understand
No,
what I
I'm not
just
against
said.
the middle class.
Do you understand it?
No,
Do
I'm
you
not.
understand? Wait, Brian, I asked a simple question, and I have to, we're not going to have much time, but since I got some people were so short in their calls that they gave me another couple of minutes. So here's the thing. I'm asking you, Brian, forget about your ideology for a second. I just informed you why prices are going up, what the corporate sector is doing that cause rents to go up. My question to you, assuming what I just said you believe or is correct, don't you think it is time for government to give relief to poor and middle class people?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Okay, so let's
You
stop
are
right there.
100%
Stop.
correct.
Stop right there.
You are
Stop
incorrect.
right there. Wait, stop right there. If what I tell you, the reason rents are going up isn't because of some false inflation of costs for them, because if you look at their books, you can actually see that they're making a lot more money per unit cost, which turned out to be a lot more profit for them. And what that is taking money out of the pockets of the people who are paying the rent at a much higher level. Don't you think that needs mitigation?
No, it does not.
That
That's
proves
personal
my point.
income.
That proves my
That's
point.
no. That's exactly what I was going to say. Yeah. Now I agree with you. No, I don't. No, I do not agree with you. That is personal income. That is socialism at its finest. The Chinese
Okay.
government is free housing.
Okay.
You
If
want to be
let
a
me ask you that.
communist?
Hold 1 second. Hold 1 second. If I decide to make gas $10 a gallon tomorrow, if Exxon decide to make gas $10 a gallon, something that you must use to get around, are you okay with that?
Yes, I am. Free market
Okay, good.
society.
Well, end the discussion. Then again, you don't care about the middle class. You just proved
No,
that.
I
You
don't agree
proved
with
that
you. No,
you agree that the people with pricing
you're
power
putting words in
should
my mouth,
have.
man.
Wait, Brian. You agree that the
You're
people with pricing
putting words in my
power
mouth.
should. Brian, I'm speaking. You agree that the people with pricing power should have absolute pricing power, irrespective of the result. Society was created for all of us, not for the few. I gotta go. Thank you so kindly, Brian. For I mean, look,
Yeah, you're
you
putting words in my
surprised me.
mouth. Putting
You
words in my mouth.
surprised me, brother. That's all I'm gonna say. You surprised me. That is surprising, and it's time for us to sort of cool down here. And thank you all of you who called in, including my brother Brian. Brian, I think, is so colored by ideology and fear of this. Brian is a good guy. Let me just, I really want to say this. Brian is not a bad person. Brian is what happens when we are ill informed by a bad sect in our government. He's not a bad person. Nobody that calls here are bad. They are simply ill informed. And it is my job, if I care about people, not to allow the informed to make me to change how I would deal with them, to change how I would care for them. So I know a lot of you get mad because I give Ryan and Joe and some of these other people a platform. I know you're upset. I get your emails, but we make a difference. It's not just for Joe and Brian and all of those who call with these different points of view. It's when people are outside listening in the abstract that they said, "Oh my God, that doesn't make any sense. I can see from reality why Egberto says XYZ," when they contrast it. That's the real reason I continue to do it this way. Anyway, let's go ahead and close out with my brother Howard and Brian. Guys, close her out for me, real quick.
Oh, not a whole lot from me. I do want to invite everyone out to the third annual Watermelon Dance and Social coming up on Saturday. We will be there broadcasting live. And Egberto, I hope you'll come in and see us. We'll be broadcasting live. Elevator Prozac will be live from there. And also Bluegrass Depot. And Stuart will be doing his show 50 years after from the Cottonwood. It's located at 3422 North Shepherd. We want you to come out and see us and have a good time. That is, of course, if the tin cans and string hold up. And we hope that they
will.
do.
Okay, we gotta go. Jack, real
Jack
quick.
has got something here.
Vote. Get registered, Democrats, and go vote your keisters off.
Hey, folks, we didn't cover much of what I had for the program. It's at politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Anyway, love you all. My name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics Done Right. And you know how I get out of here. I am what? Out. Support for this show, Politics Done Right, comes from politicsdoneright.com, publishers of How to Make America Utopia, Take Away the Economy from Those Who Rigged It. As I See It, Class Warfare, The Only Resort to Right-Wing Doom. It's Worth It, How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relatives, Friends, and Neighbors, and other books written by Egberto Willis.
Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willis. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willis. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right.